for Chintamani, Prabhu, how can one rebuild their trust in their partner after an intense moment of conflict? Trust is not always tangibly experienced. So how can we continue to how can we continue to grow our trust in each other?
So for sure, as was said earlier, conflict is inevitable. And often, as was said earlier, or the majority of time, our marriages are perfectly designed by Krishna to help us to grow in our path closer to him. And the purificatory process is expertly designed. So our spouse, who we're in a very intimate relationship on many levels, we live with that person, we see them every day, that person knows the most about them, will very often in their speaking or their behavior bring up things that are very sensitive areas, or that areas that may be trauma triggers, or areas that we may not want to look at, or areas that very much touch our false ego. And it can also be quite wounding and quite painful. And so I think one thing would be that it's important for couples to have certain ground rules. And as we were saying earlier, really be committed to work on self-growth, so that you're taking responsibility, that in your speaking and your behavior with your partner, you're being mindful to monitor yourself. So if you have a problem with anger, or if you have a problem with speaking loosely, then you know personally, maybe when you feel yourself getting upset, or feeling yourself getting hot, or feeling signs that let you know you may go beyond healthy boundaries, that you utilize your sense of responsibility to maybe leave the room, or to go talk to someone else, or to go chant your rounds. So to have certain ground rules that come from personal responsibility, and then conversations with your spouse about what types of things are triggering, or what types of things are very wounding. So that's kind of a foundational thing. But even with that being the case, we all get triggered, we're all conditioned, and those things can happen. So I think a critical aspect is to keep the communication lines open, so that we can discuss with each other, again, that was said earlier, what our feelings were, what our needs were, after we get in touch with them ourselves, try to listen to our partner's feelings and needs. And oftentimes what we'll see is that underneath there was an intention or a need that that partner didn't quite know a more healthier strategy of how to get addressed. So I think communication is important, and for us to show self-compassion in terms of what our feelings and needs are in our own behavior that's hurtful. So then we have better insight about what might be informing our partner's behavior. And that increases empathy, it increases understanding. And also, as was mentioned, to seek support from mentors and community as we kind of work through some things that are painful.
Nice. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much.